Question: Who here has called sellers before?
Called sellers,
Yeah, like direct to
not,
seller.
but not in multifamily. That's something I definitely want to start doing.
I don't care who it is. Calling sellers is so much harder than a broker. 100 times harder.
Well, I would agree with that because, you have to lead the conversation with the seller. 100%. They don't. They're not necessarily even. They don't
Okay.
even haven't even come to the realization that they need to sell.
Coming
With
from
a
a
broker,
coming from a broker who likes to talk and I don't shut up. Other brokers don't shut up either. Why? Because they think if they're on the phone, they're having a productive day. So if that means one phone call for an hour or four for 15 minutes, they think they're productive. So some brokers don't shut up. So
yeah, it's they know why you're calling, and I've
yeah,
had brokers where I didn't even use the script at all
that's a
because they
great
give me all the information without me asking a question.
that's a great point. You guys are talking with the same intention to get a deal done because at the end of the day, it's the only way either one of you win. With the seller, it's like pulling teeth.
And I'm
Because
definitely finding that it's easier to get them on the phone. And in fact, one that I reached today,
I
I
can't get them
didn't,
off the phone.
yeah, but when things are great, it's harder to get brokers on the phone. In this market, very difficult to do a deal. They are looking to talk to everybody they could possibly talk to. Now they want to talk to more sellers because they need to get the sellers off their to agree to list their properties. But it's so hard to put a deal together that they're willing to talk to everybody. So, and that's I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So we're going to have to turn over a lot of rocks to get a deal, but it's definitely worth it. Everybody I know that sticks with this business is very, very happy that they did. So, Mario, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you.
Can I ask one more question? Think
Yeah.
of it like this. When you're talking to a broker and you're reaching out to them, you are potentially their next multi-six-figure check. When you think like that, it's like they're lucky to talk to me because I can make them money. Don't think of it the other way around. Because realistically, I can go talk to another listing agent. I can talk to whoever I want, and I can get a deal locked up, and I can handle the full escrow, and I can handle all the documents. And I don't need a broker in any state. I don't care where it is. I'm licensed in California, but I don't need it anywhere. Like if I have to go to Florida, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, it doesn't matter. I can do my own deal anywhere. Me reaching out to a broker is doing them a favor. Like, hey, work for me. I will be your next multi-six figure. It's not, guys, you have to realize how much money they make on their deal. Like they make as much, if not more than your acquisition fee.
Look, and some of the deals we're looking at aren't big enough for that, right? But even if their check is 20, 30 grand, that's nothing to sneeze at.
But 30 grand is $1 million property. That's nothing.
They're willing to talk to you. Yeah, absolutely.
Think about it, every $1 million is a $25,000 to $30,000 check for the agent. If you're doing a $10 million property, just do the math. Yeah, obviously there's a scale like that. Like you eventually lower your percentage to like 1.5 to 2. You can easily hit 50, 60, 80, 100, 150, $300,000 commission checks, eyes closed. Like 100%. It's very doable.
All right, well, guys, we're 10 minutes in. As I think you all know why you're here. You're here for the broker outreach Zoom. We appreciate you guys showing up. Some of you week after week. We really appreciate that. Mario sent in a recorded call to me today. We probably won't get to that today, but it's awesome to have, and I would encourage you guys to do the same, right? Especially during the week. Record those calls, hit me up, send me an email. Let's talk about it. Let's review it. Let's go over it. Ask questions if you have them. If you don't, cool. Hang up the phone and call another broker. That's why we're here. We're here to get you guys to take action. So, if you can, put a 1 in the chat if you guys are calling brokers currently. Mario, I know you are. Rosa, I know you haven't. That's okay. We're gonna fix that this week, right? Jeremiah, remind me. I know we've spoken before on this Zoom. Are you're calling? You've been calling people, right? You haven't. No, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself or no?
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
No, I haven't been talking to brokers. I actually just started looking into multifamily probably about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks.
Okay.
I have done a lot of cold calling to sellers, a lot of cold
Okay.
texting and stuff like that.
Well, that's what I remember. You've
yeah, I
been
have
doing deals in the
experience in it.
single family space, right?
Yes, I have I had a wholesaling company up here, but I had an opportunity to do acquisitions for multifamily, so I just dropped all of my stuff in single family. I mean, I had someone explain to me the benefits of multifamily, so I was like, okay, well, single family is outrageous. It's just not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, I don't think, for me at least. I don't know about anybody else in their current market, but Knoxville's pretty hard. I was spending a lot of marketing money. I was spending like $8,000 to $10,000 a month just for single family marketing.
Yeah.
And just wholesaling up here. But I realized that it's a little bit different. The playing grounds is a little bit different. There's a lot more deal flow here. And all you really have to do is call these brokers and be like, hey, and know what you're talking about, because you're right, because they'll sniff you out if you don't know what you're talking about. That's why I'm not calling brokers. I educate before I make any type of action. That's just how I do everything.
So, but you're in charge of acquisitions.
I wouldn't say, I would say that I'm going to be doing the acquisitions for the person that I'm working for.
Okay.
But I guess ultimately he's in charge of acquisitions because he's kind of the one that's guiding me and holding my hand for the time being. And then I'm learning as much as I can right now. I've always learned to be a sponge. That's just always what I learned. So I'm being a sponge right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to get to that point where he doesn't have to babysit me and I can call these brokers and have the confidence that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be the guy that doesn't know what he's talking about and just is willy-nilly doing things.
Yeah. No, I understand that. And I'll tell you, it doesn't take that long, right?
No, I've got a good warm and fuzzy on it.
Yeah.
I'd say a lot of progression has been made. I've watched, I mean, maybe the past couple of days I've been super busy kind of not only trying to just learn by talking to them because he's been multifamily for quite some time, and just asking very direct questions. But I have been watching the replays of these Zooms and stuff like that, and it's really helped me. I'd say that more of my problem really underlies with underwriting, because it's just completely different than underwriting a single family deal. There's so much stuff that goes into it. And I actually wanted to talk to Ed about it because I love to know if there's some type of almost like kind of like a checklist. Like, I'm assuming that somebody has done this so many times and repeated this so many times that they do something in a specific order, right? So they're like, okay, well, like I just came up with this the other day where somebody was about to sell this property because the taxes were about to get reassessed, and he was about to pay literally, I think it was like 67% times what he was paying.
Yeah.
So I was learning that and stuff like that. So I'm trying to kind of establish a system of how I'm going to go about doing things and then implementing them.
Gotcha.
Get my
Well-
phone number. It's under my name. Also, whenever you guys are ready, or Peter, it's your call actually. So you let me know. I have a broker that just called me, and he's a California broker. It's about a property here. He's like, give me a call back. I have a proposal. So I don't know. I know what property it's about. I don't know what he's gonna say. If you guys want me to have that call now, I can. If not, I can have it after. I personally don't care to make him, like, he can wait. That's not a big deal. So it's up to you guys if you guys want to hear that call. If not, that's cool. If you do,
If you've got a broker that you think you can get live right now, Ed, I would
he
absolutely.
called me. I don't think I know. I hung up his call.
Yeah, no, let's do it. Get him on the phone. That would be awesome.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
So you
lure.
put yourself on mute. for right now, do the dial, and then as soon as you start talking to them, rather than us waiting for you to get them on the line, just unmute when you got them on the phone. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
Hey, how are you?
Oh,
Hey, did you give any more thought to the Orion property?
Yeah, so it still comes down to, it's like I know we've been going back and forth with the prices a little lower than what they wanted initially, and we're getting closer to the what works. But at the end of the day, and like we had this conversation before regarding the seller carry component of it, it got to the point where you were even saying that it's not gonna work. So now my question is have they moved from that point? Because if not, we're back to square one.
Well, I do have that the seller will carry the 500,000 for 5 years at 5%.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got that.
So did you do the underwriting with the current unit mix and not the anticipated one with the additional room and the extra ADU that you said before? Because like I said, like I don't want to have my hands tied to where I'm forced to do an addition. Like, sure, the value being there, the seller can value whatever they want. I'm not paying for that because I have to do the sweat for it. Unless they want to do the work for it, then by all means, I'll pay for that difference. But if I'm buying it as a 18 units, this is the unit mix, I'm not paying because of I have the potential to do X, Y, Z. Like, sure, that's great, but that's coming out of my time, equity, and capital. It's just, I'm gonna pay for what it is today, not what it can be tomorrow.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. And we've had this conversation too, if that's something that they think is they're gonna put a premium on it, then that's fine. I'll look on to the next.
Well, look, I don't know if it's a premium or what. I just know that I talked to Sammy, and Sammy would be willing to be taken out at 4.2, and that's what we counted you at.
Yeah.
And so, boy, but I gotta look at, you want to see what the market cap is if you add bedrooms when you turn versus if you don't add bedrooms. No, you don't want to see the adding of bedrooms.
No, I want it as is, because the only thing I'm going to be doing is giving whatever is interior a facelift and finishing whatever renovations needed to be done and upgrading. If I add the rooms and if I go through the headache of the permits and the X's and O's, then that should be the cherry on top. I shouldn't have to do it for the deal to make sense. That's not fair.
But okay, so let me say this though. He's already got the permits for adding the bedrooms on those 2 demo units.
Okay.
So that's done.
Okay.
You've got permits for those, those 2 demo units.
But that's
Now, I don't know if they expired. Some permits will expire, so.
Yeah, but that's also, that's 2 of 18.
Yeah.
Okay, so that.
Well, yeah, the other ones are
help me.
occupied, so you gotta turn those when they move out.
Yeah, exactly. So, and look, realistically, it's the permits for those are great, but the other 16, without the permits to make the expansion already done, evaluating it at what it can be doesn't help me in my numbers.
I don't think I did that. Hang on, let me.
On the OM is like that.
All right, hang on, let me compare here to because I'm looking at a setup. Maybe I need to just send you a setup, because like, for example, I've got these 1 bedrooms in a market rent of $1,850. Well, that's the market rent for. Okay, hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6. Why do I have 6? Oh, because the two he's got permits for. Yeah, I've only pro forma the ones that are already have. Okay, here's what I've got in that marketing package. Let's see here, 7. Yeah, I've only got the ones that are already done, that's already added bedrooms to, and the 2 that are demoed that he's got permits for. Because he's got 5 units remodeled. One of them I know he could not add a bedroom to. So I'm looking at, if you look at my page 21 of the marketing package, I've got a 1-bedroom with a den. So that one's already done. I've got 1 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a den. That's demoed. And then I've got 3 2+2s with a den, but those are the ones she's already done. And then I've got the 3+2 with a den that's demoed with a permit. Those are the only ones I'm adding bedrooms to. So in other words, the one he's already done and the demoed ones, because I've already got permits to add the bedroom. So I can change those. I could make you a setup with those 2 pulled back. But boy, if you got the permits, I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to go for it.
So he's not planning to finish them until it sells?
Part of her equity stake.
You guys are
she's
good.
supposed to be going in there and
All right, cool. Ed's gonna mute for now, which is fine. We don't need to hear any more of that. That was fine. Is that helpful to you guys to hear that conversation? I mean, obviously that's a little different, right? That's a secondary conversation. That's a follow-on conversation. That's not the initial conversation. That's not following a script. But the biggest point that Ed's trying to make here, right? And sellers do this all the time. Sellers want to sell their property based on pro forma. You want to sell your property based on pro forma, you do the work. That's my equity. I'm going to do the work to make that pro forma work. I'm going to pay as is price, right? I'm not, now there are times where, you're going to pay a little bit lower cap rate because a higher price for a property because of the potential, because of the work that the seller did, like getting permits, right? But you have to decide what is the value. You still have to do the work to build those buildings. You have to bring the capital to the project. So if all you did was get permits, you can't expect to sell the property for the full value of those buildings having been built. So that's where Ed's trying to get to right now is what's a fair price based on where the project is. So, Celinda, I appreciate you answering my question. For those of you who didn't see it, I want to know what is keeping you from calling brokers. So I'd like some of you to raise your hand and tell the group, or go ahead and put it in the chat. What Celinda said is, and I think this is probably true for a lot of people, right? She's feeling unsure of whether she has a buyer. She's not able to be the buyer yet, right? She can't be that key sponsor. So she knows she's going to have to JV with somebody if she does find a deal. So Celinda, there's an easy answer to that, I would say. If you're spending time on these calls, you have buyers, right? These rooms are full of people who have the potential to buy and or bring you the JV partner that you need, and or be the JV partner or be the key principal that you need. So by hanging out in these rooms, you're going to form the team that you need. And I know, like Rosa was talking about, she's setting up some portal, and that's great. Look, there's no problem with that. But my attitude is go take some action, go create something, go have a need to create that portal, right? Go have a deal to talk to people about. Obviously, you're not going to put it under contract without the right people in place. But if you find a deal that looks good on the napkin, then you take a little bit of time to go a little bit deeper in the underwriting, and that deal still looks good. You are going to have a lot of people interested in digging into that deal with you. And you could easily find them. Just call me. I'm your JV partner. I'm ready to go. I promise you, we will bring the right people to the deal if that deal is good. And we'll help you underwrite it, right? That's the other thing. You don't have, number one, if you waited until you knew every piece of this business before you did anything, you would never take action, ever. You'll never get to know all of it, right? You're going to focus in some areas. Some of you guys are going to be underwriters, right? And that's going to be your niche, and you're going to focus on underwriting. Some of you are going to be property managers. I can tell you right now that you don't ever want me to manage your property. It's not that I couldn't do it, and I'm great with people. I could do it really well, but I won't. I'll walk off the property and I'll go look for another one to buy, because I have no interest in managing a property. That's just not me. I'm not an operations guy, right? I'm a hunter. I'm looking for the next deal. I might help you underwrite a deal, because I don't have to stay in that mode forever, right? I can dig into the underwriting. We can decide if it's a good deal, and then we can move on to the next one. Operations, you're married to that property for a while. You gotta have somebody who's happy, staring at that same building all day, every day, looking at those numbers for that building, hitting the KPIs on that building. And that's just not me. But again, some of you, that's your superpower, and that's where you want to be, and that's great. So you don't need to know everything. At the end of the day, you hardly need to know anything to get started. As long as you're hanging out with the right people, there's somebody on these Zooms that knows everything you need to know. Every piece of it, somebody's an expert in, right? I don't know how many of you were on last night. I certainly know some of you were. We had a tremendous underwriter on the call with us last night. And just, he's been around so long, he's got experience in everything, right? Ken is a great mentor. Jeremiah, in fact, I thought of that. I don't know, were you on the call last night, Jeremiah? Okay. I would encourage you to watch last night's call for sure, and think about whether you want to. He's got an incredible deal. His underwriting package is $997. The value in that is unbelievable, mostly because of the Zoom calls that you get direct access to him. So you could pay $20,000, you could pay $30,000, $50,000 for another mentorship that doesn't have the value of that $1,000 underwriting package that he was selling last night. So, and I don't get anything from. I'm not. There's no kickback to me. There's no benefit to me. I just know that Ken is the real deal. And if you want to dig into underwriting a little bit more, that'd be a really good place to start. So check that call out. Anybody else who missed it last night, I would encourage you to watch last night's call. It was really, really good. So anyway, so Linda, I hope that's helpful to you. Don't let that hold you back. Go find a deal. I promise you, you can find the people you need to get that deal done. Assuming you find a good deal, right? Which is not easy. You're gonna have to turn over a lot of rocks. And thanks, Ayana, for confirming that. Ken G knows his stuff. The thing, who knows how he pronounces his last name? I meant to pay attention last night. Is it G or G?
Yeah, Ken G.
He says G.
He says
G.
G. Okay, because I hear so many people say Ken G. And good, Ken G. Great guy, super knowledgeable, and he's just, salt of the earth. You just get the sense he doesn't need to be doing any of this. He's been doing it for so long. He's got all the money he needs. He really just wants to see more people learn the business and become successful. And I promise you, there are other people selling stuff for a whole lot less value for a whole lot more money. So definitely a good guy to check out. So Linda, hopefully that helps you. Who else?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Who else can let us know what's the hurdle? What's keeping you from calling brokers? What's keeping you from taking the action you know you need to take? That's what we're here for, right? That's what this call is all about, encouraging people to take action. If we don't do that, we haven't succeeded in our mission. So if I don't know what's keeping you from calling, I can't help you. And I don't see anybody else putting anything in the chat. So thank you, Celinda, for doing what I asked. Now I'm gonna have to start calling on people, which is fine. I have no problem doing that. Where's Nathan? I just saw his face pop up. Now he disappeared on. Oh, there you are. Nathan, he's got his hand up. Like, look at me. Go ahead, unmute yourself. Talk to me. What's going on?
So Peter, I need some advice.
Okay.
So my challenge right now is that I'm out of Atlanta. I think I and you have spoken briefly before, and I know the area I want to invest in.
Okay.
I am focusing on smaller deals, which are non-syndicated deals, and I'm making good progress. We are calling customers. We are calling brokers. We are underwriting deals. We are doing LOIs. We're doing all the right stuff.
Awesome.
That I think I'm getting more and more comfortable in that zone because
Okay.
we are talking to banks and getting what rates we are going to get. And right now, as you know, the smaller the deal, it's more challenging. So that's my comfort zone. I'm getting more and more comfortable there. Where I'm struggling is syndication deals. And where my struggle specifically is, I don't know what size of a deal to undertake because I don't have a network yet. I heard you saying earlier that if you have a deal, then this group of people, and I really admire Ed and you and everybody else on this call who is doing a phenomenal job, by the way. So let's say I call a broker, he or she brings a deal which is like 50 units, 60 units, 70 units. I don't know if that's a good deal for me to pursue. Is that still okay to have that initial call, or do you think I'm going to lose my credibility if I don't go any further from the initial conversation the broker has given me?
I think it all depends how you handle it, but I would say you can definitely have those conversations without losing credibility, right? We have people in these groups that can easily take down a 50, 60 unit deal. No question about it. Now, is the deal, the key that you want to do, what you want to do is get to the point where you understand why you're not going to pursue that deal any further and communicate that to the broker. And as long as you're doing that, you don't want to call on a bunch of bigger deals and then just disappear and ghost him, right? Or her. You want to have an intelligent conversation with them about, we underwrote the deal. Here's where we're at. This deal looks like a 5 cap to us, and there's no way we could buy it at any more than a 6.5 cap, whatever the reason is, right? And that's kind of, at the end of the day, that's what you're running into left and right now, right? Most sellers don't have to sell. They still have an idea of what their property's worth based on last year's data, based on data 2 years ago, and the properties just aren't going to bring that right now. And they certainly aren't going to bring it from. And look, we are always competing with the big guys, and the bigger properties you look at, the more bigger players are there, right? That the pension funds can afford to buy a property at a 4.5 cap. You and I can't.
Right.
There's just no way, right? We have to make money. We can't just survive by making money on our money. We have to grow that money. Pension funds don't have to. They just need to keep their money and generate revenue. So we're never going to be able to pay those prices for a 4.5 cap, right? And with interest rates the way they are now, we're always looking. What do they say? At least a 100 basis point spread over the rate. And what are we looking at on rates right now on agency debt? 6%.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
Yeah, not on the bigger. You wouldn't be paying 8% on the bigger deal, but so you see these deals are still being marketed at 5.5 cap, and I need to buy it at 7. That's not even close, right? But those are the conversations we're continuing to have, and that's why we need to keep turning over rocks. And look at, oh my gosh, Ken Gee showed up. Now that's I don't even know what to say. Oh my gosh, Ken, good to see you. Appreciate your being with us last night. We were just talking about you. Your ears must have been ringing.
Well, thank you.
You're on mute, so we can't hear you.
Helpful. That was helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So, and look, I told you people are in the room, right? If you find a 50, 60, 70 unit deal that looks really good on paper, Maybe Ken wants to talk to you about it. Right? You've got people in these rooms that want to talk, that will talk to you about these deals. And there's nobody better to help you underwrite it than Ken.
Got you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
don't shy away from the bigger deals. I promise you, you're in the right place to get a bigger deal done.
Got you. Thank you.
Appreciate that. So who else has questions? Come on, guys. I know some of you come here every week, you hang out in the background, you hang out behind your picture. Don't make me call names. I will. So Ken, I appreciate you coming on tonight. What made you hop on tonight?
I see you guys. I get the emails every week, and usually I'm busy. My wife and I are doing something, but she happened to be gone tonight, so I thought I'd stop in.
I love it.
And see what you're up to, man.
I get to do that kind of stuff too when it's girls' night out. I get a hall pass. I love
That's
that.
exactly right. That's exactly
Very
right.
good.
No,
Very good.
I'm always up for learning a new tip or something, man. I hear new stuff all the time that works. So,
well, that's funny you say that. So I bet as a teacher, you feel like over the years you've learned more from your students than you could ever teach one person.
Absolutely.
That's I love encouraging people to take action, trying to teach them new tips, and that's why we do this. And I don't come on here for me, guys. I come on here to encourage you guys to start taking action. And I know Rosa's going to this week because she's committed to, and I think Celinda's going to this week too. Can I get a head nod there? See, there you go. Awesome. I'm going to make sure that happens. So.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask the group a question? And that is, what is the hardest thing for people when they're trying to talk to a broker? What is it that stresses them the most? I'm always curious. If you don't mind me just asking a question, opening the floor up a little bit.
So Ken, I basically asked that same question a little bit earlier in the chat.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
No. And Celinda responded to it, but you asked it a little differently. So Rosa, you want to respond to that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Hello, Ken. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. My biggest fear was because I'm a student at the Multifamily Mindset, and they teach you about them asking you about your proof of fund, and also, how many more units you have, your portfolio. And I have zero, none of those. So I'm scared to think about them asking me that. But now with Peter and all these calls, now I see that they don't even ask for that stuff. So now I'm getting more empowered to do it.
Yeah, but you know what? Why don't you come up with an answer to that question? Just come up with your best answer.
Yes. So they said to partner. So they gave us an idea on what to do. Okay, you tell them, okay, I have my team to put them in their portfolio, and they're not proof of funds. So we'll say, oh yes, we have some investors like soft commitments and stuff, but we can't show them anything.
Well, wait, you just said you have some partners, right?
Yes. Well,
okay.
They put teaching us. They said we can use the name for it.
Oh, okay. Would they agree to partner with you?
It depends on the deal.
Okay. And do they own a lot of units?
They do. Oh, thousands of them. Yeah.
Okay. So craft your answer to the question then, and it will no longer make you nervous. You already have the answer. You just came up with the answer.
Yeah. Right.
Well, you did.
Very nervous.
Well, no, what happens is, and I learned this a long time ago, practice in this group, right? Practice on people in this group, and, practice the answer. And the more times you say it, all of a sudden it's just going to start to flow. And what you don't want to do is make things up that aren't true, because that's really hard. Don't do that, because you'll never remember what lie you told, right? It's never going to work. So come up with the answer that makes sense, write it down, commit it to memory, and that's your answer.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Then you no longer get nervous. Yeah, right.
Yes, and I have a question. Will you be interested in partner or Peter or any of you on a deal here in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Massachusetts. I tend to stay in the Southeast in the growth states. But that doesn't mean that there's other people who will, because we're at Massachusetts. I don't know anything about Massachusetts, other than there might be a little town called Boston there, maybe. That's about all I know about Massachusetts. But I'm sure there's very good things there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Rosa, to answer that question, right? I'm with Ken, right? I live in the Southeast now. I want to invest in the Southeast. That's where I tend to stay. But I'll be in Massachusetts in less than 2 weeks, right? I'm from Rhode Island. I grew up there. So while I'm not looking to acquire assets there. If you find a good enough deal, we'll find somebody who's interested in that market. I don't have any concern that now we'll want Ken's help to underwrite it, make sure it looks good. Now he may not be willing to help us if he's not going to buy in Massachusetts, but that's okay. We know enough people. There's enough people in this group that it's worth pursuing deals. And look, Massachusetts, because it's more difficult to do business, it's likely more difficult to sell real estate, right? So you got to be that much more conservative because the business environment's challenging. And as long as you stay conservative, obviously people own real estate in Massachusetts. No reason it can't be you. So, we only have 20 minutes left, guys. Ken, I'm going to ask you a favor if you're up for it. One of the things we like to do on these calls is role play. If I can get a volunteer, would you be willing to play the broker?
Sure, why not?
Awesome.
Hey, what do you want me to be? Easy, hard, medium?
I want you. I would say medium, not too easy. Okay. Push them a little bit. So who wants to take advantage of that? I'll call on somebody, but I'd much rather have a volunteer for that. And I'll tell you right now, if you guys don't volunteer, I will. Because you're crazy not to participate with Ken Gee. This is an opportunity not very many people will get. I knew I could get somebody to do it.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Jeremiah, I highly encourage you to raise your hand, my young friend. No joke. You don't want to pass up on this opportunity. You want to get known on these calls. So let's do it. Nathan, unmute yourself. Thanks for volunteering. And we'll take 5 minutes. Ring, ring, ring. Call Mr. Ken Gee and see if you can buy his property.
Hey Ken, this is Nathan from Atlanta. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great as well. Hey, I'm a real estate professional based out of Atlanta. I've been in real estate for many years. I have a single family portfolio as well as actively looking into multifamily. And I was just calling you to check if you have any deals on your side, which I could explore and investigate.
Sure. So tell me what kind of deals. What's your name? It's Nathan, right?
Yes, sir.
Nathan, do you live in the area? You do, right?
Yes, I do live in Atlanta.
Got it. What kind of deals are you looking for?
So right now I'm looking for anywhere from 50 doors and above. And so I have a team of people, a group of people who I work with, which have varying experiences. And so right now we are looking for value add Class C properties.
Got it. Okay. What kind of cap rate are you trying to get going in?
So in Atlanta, usually the normal cap rate is around 5.5 for Class A. So for Class C, we are probably looking at around 6.5, 7 cap properties.
Okay, got it. How many deals have you looked at in this area?
So we've been underwriting multiple deals and just trying to see what falls in our buy box. So we have underwritten a few, but we are still, to answer your question, we have underwritten around 5-10 deals so far. But haven't come across one which fits our buy box.
Got it. So now I'm the broker. Remember, I'm not a broker, so I'm not as good at betting as other brokers might be. So let me ask you a question. You said your minimum 50 doors. How high? How many? What's the max?
So I think we would like to restrict it to around less than 150 doors.
So 50 to 150 units. Okay.
Yes.
And what? So tell me about your group. You said you work with lots of people. Give me an idea what that looks like so that I can, have an idea what kind of experience you have, and try to match this up so we can put a deal in front of you.
Sure, absolutely. So, so a couple of my partners who I'm underwriting my deals currently, they own multifamily currently in the city of Atlanta. They have around 4 or 5 properties under their belt, which is less than 20 doors. But I'm also part of a couple of other groups, one of which is the Multifamily Freedom Chasers. And there are a lot of folks who I interact with there who have had more than 100 doors under their portfolio. So I can always, bring in more people into this group, as long as the deal hits our buy box.
Got it. And you said you have some single families?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay. And do you have multifamily yet for yourself?
No, I don't have any multifamily myself. I'm trying to get into my multifamily by partnering with people who have more experience in this area.
Got it. Okay. All right. So now I would ask you is, because if you're calling me, you're probably on my email list, right?
I do.
So one of the things that you might want to do, now I'm just trying to give you some feedback. You might want to, you've introduced yourself to me, and now I've got a feel for what you're looking for. Here's what I am gathering from the broker. You're new in the game. That's fine. You're looking for 50 doors to 150. I'm going to not show you 150 units because nothing you've said in this call yet has convinced me that you have enough relationships yet to take down 150. But there's no reason you can't take down 50, right? That's a real possibility there. So I'm just telling you as a broker, I'm gonna stay down to the lower set, which is good because you want to actually be able to do a deal, right? You've not done a deal with anyone in these groups yet. I've surmised, or you would have told me that.
Correct.
Is that true?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, good. So that's what the broker is going to hear. So what you want to do then is so you have given me your criteria, and that's great, right? So now what I like about that is you have thought through what you're trying to buy. You've actually given that some thought. You have no idea how many people call those brokers, and they have no idea what they want. That you define Class C, value add, 7 cap. I mean, you've laid it all out. I mean, that's well thought out. That was a very good presentation. Now, the one thing you might try to add is when you're on their site, find a deal that might look interesting, right? So now you can drill into that deal a little bit, right? Maybe there is no deal. I don't know. But when I call a broker, I try to have purpose. When brokers are busy, they like to have relationships, but they're focused on selling an asset they have listed. That's what they're focused on. And if I can call them and say, hey, I saw this 40 unit deal that you got listed, and I downloaded the OM. Do you have a minute for a few questions? So what I find that people, this is just my opinion. Remember, guys, this is just one man's opinion, okay? I find that people that are new in this game always lead with their resume. You don't necessarily need to do that because that is the sure thing. Like when I call someone, I don't say, hey guys, I've been in this business for 25 years. I've done 18 deals, blah, blah, blah. They're like, whoa, slow down, buddy, right? All I need to do is start talking, and they will start to determine in their own mind, do I have a clue? So you have a clue because you well thought out what you're trying to buy. So I would say, call them about a deal if you can, and have read the OM and say, okay, let me just go through this deal. This is what I understand. What's the story with this deal? I really like this deal. Okay, it's a deal that's reasonable, right? Because then when he starts to probe into your background, you'll release your background. And if you're calling him on 400 units, he's going to be like, oh man, really? You've never done a deal and you're calling me for 400 units? Or if you're calling on a small deal, he'll be like, okay, he's never done a deal. 50, he's got some single families. He's got some buddies that have single families. Everybody makes that first step up. This guy actually might be right for a 50 unit deal. See, he's actually being reasonable, and that's going to tell me that you're a legit guy. You're well thought out, and you're a guy that, you know what, when I get these smaller deals, you're going to be on my list, right? And I'm going to make my notes in my CRM that you're probably good for a smaller property. First, you're doing the step up from being in single family, and now I've identified you and what kind of asset you're going to buy. What I don't like it when people do is they pretend like they can take down 150, 200 units, and you don't have the relationships yet. You've not formed partnerships yet. You don't have that experience yet. And what brokers tend to do is they try to sniff out if you're for real, because so many people are kicking tires. And you want to be realistic with them because their job is to sell you a deal. Your job is to buy a deal. So let's kind of go down that path into a deal type that is actually possible for you to get done in his or her mind. And then when you start asking intelligent questions about the deal and you get the story and you continue to reiterate, hey man, I really love this deal, blah, blah, blah. What I don't want you to do then is say, hey, can we get together for coffee? Brokers usually hate that unless they're bored, and most of them aren't bored. So what you do is you meet them through tours, right? You tour, you schedule tours for these properties that you're looking at. And then you get to know them. And all of a sudden, hey, you know what? I toured them last week. I'm touring them on another property this week. This guy's for real, right? And they're looking for the guy that's going to be still there in 30, 45, 60 days, because you'd be shocked how many times people tour once and then they're gone and you'll never see them again. Does that make sense? I know that was an enormous amount of feedback, but I love the way you presented that. I would just like to see you not lead with your resume. Try to go there with a focus on a deal. That way it's going to give you the opportunity to show them that you're well thought out and show them that you love the deal. It'll give them something to talk about. And then you could slowly answer those questions about your experience level so that it fits with the deal you're looking at.
This was very helpful. Thank you so much, Ken. Really appreciate it. Absolutely.
Ken, yeah, that's really great. And it's confirmation of what we've been teaching here for the last several months, right?
Good.
We teach them to go on Craigslist or LoopNet and find a deal and call about a specific deal. That's why role playing is so difficult, because as the broker, you have to make it up as the broker. And I've always, I'm so happy to watch you struggle being a broker, because I have that same experience.
It's hard. Yeah, I'm not broker.
You don't have it. You almost, what I need to do is go online, find a deal, pull down the information, and have that as my, that's the one I'm going to role play with all the time, that same deal. Because without a deal in mind, it's very difficult to role play as the broker. But you did a great job. Focus on the deal. That's what we teach them. Don't lead with your resume. Absolutely not. I have never led with my resume once, and I've never been asked about my resume, because I can. And what we tell you guys is we just want to get you confident, right? Once you can talk about these deals with confidence, you don't have to have done a deal. You just have to know how to speak the language and do it confidently. They don't ask you for money. They don't ask you how many units you own in it. The second they see weakness, the second they see, oh, this guy's just kicking tires, that's when they're going to start asking you about your background. And that's okay, right? That's when I've got a team of people behind me. They're teaching me what to do. They've taken down multiple deals at 50 units, whatever it is. You don't make it up. It's all got to be true, but you leverage the skill of the team. You leverage the experience of the team. I agree with everything that Ken said in terms of, most of us should be going after 50 unit deals. But I'm here to tell you, I talk to these brokers about 150 unit deals with total confidence, because if I find a 150 unit deal in the Southeast that's selling at a good price, I know where to go.
You're going to call me.
Ken, I promise you, I don't have your phone number, right? But I know Marcel does. I know how to get to Ken. I know how to get to Vina Jetty. I know how to get to Robert Martinez. I know how to get to a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of Ken Rod Cleef's warriors. I've got tons of people in my back pocket and they're not in my back pocket, but I have enough of a relationship that I know who to call. I know people that have taken down those bigger deals, and they're taking them down right now. I mean, there's deals even there. Ken, I know you confirm this. They're super hard to find right now, but deals are happening. People are getting to the closing table. So it's 8:54. We only have a few minutes left. Ken, will you do it one more time with Jeremiah? I promised him you do.
Sure.
All right. Awesome. I know it's hard.
I'm happy to do it. I just, hope I don't conflict with whatever you guys. My first time. So remember, it's one man's opinion.
Yeah, you've solidified everything we've been teaching here. So this is super helpful to all of us, I know. So, all right, Jeremiah, unmute yourself. Try to buy that 150 unit building from Ken Gee.
All right, I'm having a little bit of
Jeremiah.
My stuff is kind of freezing a little bit. How you doing, Ken?
Okay.
Good, we got you.
So, do you want me to start just like ring the phone?
Well, yeah, all right. The phone rang and I answered it. Hi, this is Ken.
Hey, Ken. How you doing? So I just noticed I was looking at this property off of Crexy, and you got it listed for 6.2, and it's got 56 units. At it, and I noticed the NOI was 311,870, and I'm looking to try to get a 6.5 cap out of this deal. And I was just wondering if you could send me over the T12s and the rent roll so that I can confirm the NOI.
Yeah, I can. Can I give you some feedback? What I want you to lead with is, can you be the broker for a minute?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Jeremiah. Ken Gee here. Hey, man, I just saw this ABC Apartments on your website, and I downloaded it, took a look at it. Man, this thing looks really cool. It looks like a really nice property. I love the neighborhood that it's in. I love it. It just looks like a really cool property. And I don't know what he's written in the document. But then I would say, hey, is there any way? Can you number one? Can you give me the story here? And then how do I get to T12 and the rent roll so I can really dig into this thing? Because it really, I really like the way this thing looks, and it makes a lot of sense. It looks like. So now what you've done, see what you started out with that I would rather you didn't start out with, and I'm just trying to give honest feedback. Please don't be offended. That's what we're here for, all right? I don't want
No,
them
absolutely not.
I don't want them to try to go negative on you in the beginning, because what it could
Try not to be so direct.
Well, it's not
Ease
direct.
into
What
it
you
a
have to be
little bit,
careful of is
build that
well,
rapport with them.
Yeah. I mean, think about this, right? I always tell people when you start a relationship, and I don't mean to offend any female or male on this call, but think about it as developing. You go to a bar and you want to start talking to a girl. I mean, you're not going to be super direct at first. You can say, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" You know, you're going to make some small talk. You start to develop the rapport. You're going to work that relationship. I couldn't hear you, brother. What? I didn't hear what you said.
You're cutting out a little bit to say anything though.
Okay, so you want to develop that relationship with them first. Develop a little bit of rapport. Tell them that you really like the property. It really looks like a cool deal, right? Because if you're too direct and you start going right for the heavy metal right out of the gate, what you're going to risk is that they perceive you as putting them on the defensive, right? Because you said, I'm trying to, you got the NOI, you got this, you're trying to figure out how to get a 6.5 cap. And what that broker is going to immediately do is have to be defensive, right? So he's defending how it's a 6.5 cap. And that's not what you want. What you want first is to bring him in. You want him to know that you're interested. You want him to want to spend the time with you, tell you the story. This, I'm sure there's a great story here. Can you tell me what the story is? Can you tell me why they're selling? I'm assuming you guys have a list of questions you'd like to ask the broker. Don't ping them with 50 questions, all right? But just do it nonchalantly, just like you're developing a relationship. Start it off positive, listen to the story, then ask for the financial information. And then as I ask for it, say, is there anything that I should know in particular? You've seen the numbers. I haven't yet. Is there anything that I should pay attention to? Do I need to make any special adjustments to the seller's numbers? What should I be looking for? And they'll what they're doing is they're starting to share information with you in a non-defensive way. What they feel like is that you're trying to figure out how to make the deal work right away. They're like, hey man, when I see these numbers, tell me, is there anything special? Any special adjustments I should make? Now they're like, oh yeah, you're going to want to blah, 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 do this. And you're going to want to, they had a problem, a water leak last year. And, for 6 months, it was too high. Oh, okay, cool. All right. So for 6, now you start to understand what happened so that now you're getting good data so that when you underwrite the deal with the T12, you actually know some information and some adjustments that need to be made, or maybe he's already made them. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And then as I would end that call, I would say, okay, well, do me a favor. Let me spend a day or two with this thing. I always want to know, what's the process? Where's the seller at? Is he ready to sell? Why is he selling? Do I need to, what's my deadline here? Do I need to get do I need to get on this yesterday, or do we have a few minutes? Kind of give me that lay of the land, and just let him see what he says. He might say, well, you're not going to tell them if you know it's been on the market for 6 months. Don't tell them that, right? That tells you a lot, but you don't need to, ask him to defend that. You're just looking for the process, what his expectations are, what the pricing guidance is, so that you can say, okay, awesome, man, this sounds great. I'm super excited to dig into these numbers. Can it give me a day or two for some questions? And then, I don't want to drag you out to the property if it doesn't make sense, but based on what you told me, I'm sure it will. So I'm looking forward to talking to you again in a couple of days. So what I've done is I've kept that entire thing positive, right? You don't, it's not until you've done real homework and you're, now there's a mismatch between NOI.
Appreciate it, sir.
So are you there?
Yeah, I think he's got a big lag going on, Ken. He's trying to talk to you.
Yeah,
but
it's freezing.
I'm sorry,
I
man.
know.
he's freezing up, but that was awesome, Jeremiah. Ken, I agree with everything you said. What I do like about it though, right, is he hasn't been calling brokers. He's clearly a very capable young man. He's done single family deals before. He wants to really know what he's doing before he starts. And I know tonight was a huge step in that direction, right? This is going to raise his confidence level really high. What I did like about what you said, Jeremiah, is that you came across super knowledgeable, super confident. So,
yep.
but you did, it was like, okay, right for the jugular, let's get to know him a little bit. Let's form a relationship.
Yeah.
We're not trying to buy it tonight. We want to buy it soon, but not today. So anyway,
I got you.
Yeah, you know what's important for people to remember? We're in business, and you can't be ridiculously long-winded. Don't do that. But business is about relationships, and in the end, who determines how your offer is presented to the seller? He does, or she does, whoever that broker is. So you want them to like you. You want them to think, man, I like this guy, because people generally do work hard and do good things for people they actually like. And I'm not saying you're not likable. That's not what I'm saying. You want to make sure you nail down that rapport thing up front. I just think it'll help you a lot. So, yeah, you know what I would do if I were you? I would do a role play every single week. You guys get on this call. If I were you, Jeremiah, I would be like, all right, I want to do a role play again. I want to get better. I want to do it better each week, because this is a safe zone, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Did you guys hear that? I hope everybody was paying attention to that. I have a hard time getting you guys to raise your hand, but anyway, we're going to definitely do some more role play. I'll be better prepared with specifics of a specific deal. I'll get better at playing broker, doing those role plays. So I look forward to doing more of that in the future. The other thing we've asked them to do, Ken, is to record some calls and bring them here so we can listen to them, review them, and critique them live in this safe space. So, and in fact, Mario did that this week, and Mario's been making calls, and Mario's been super helpful to us. Really been on these calls a lot with us, and we're learning from him just like he's learning from us. So we're all along for the ride, all enjoying the process. So guys, we're at 9:03. We're going to respect your time. And Mr. Geese, Ken, I can't thank you enough for joining. What a pleasant surprise that was.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you for including me. I really appreciate it.
No, that was awesome. And now you were late. You got, next time.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, too funny. So anyway, we do have a hand up. So Ayana, I will take your question if you really meant to raise your hand. If not, we will call it a night. Well, you took your hand down. Did you want to unmute and ask a question, or I'm going to assume that was an accident. So, yeah, she's still not unmuted. Oh, maybe she is trying to.
I think she's trying.
Yeah, I think we have connection issues, which I have that problem myself sometimes. So, but somebody else is got disconnected there for a minute as well. Anyway, guys, we're gonna call it a night. Oh, we got to put our phones up and take a picture. Almost forgot. Everybody, turn your cameras on, as many of them as you can. You know how this goes. You got to put your phone up, and we got to take a picture of the group. Ken, can we get your phone up?
Well, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. How do we do this? Oh, we do. Well, I'm on my phone. I don't know.
There you go.
All right.
All right, phones up, guys. Good job. Awesome. Thanks again, Ken.
All right,
Thank
brother.
you, everybody, for being here. And don't forget, tomorrow night, we've got our napkin underwrite with none other than Ed Shamirian. And hopefully Aldo will be with us tomorrow as well, Aldo and Will. And then Wednesday night is debt this week, I think. No, that is that. We are doing it this week. Okay. I almost forgot. Next week, we will not be on. We are taking Sunday night off. We're not doing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. Next week, we won't have a call until Thursday. And Jerry Miles will be talking about his new program where you guys can refer business to him. So you're going to want to hear that call. Jerry has a deal in the pipeline right now that someone is going to be paid $19,000 for referring that deal to him. So you guys do want to hear what Jerry has to say. So again, guys, appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your support. As always, we will see you in 2 weeks on the broker call, but we'll see you tomorrow night for napkin underwriting and the debt call on Wednesday night. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, you all.
Thanks, Rosa.
Thank you, Peter. This was great.
Thank you, Nathan.